I'm pleased to be celebrating the Tea Party with you tonight. The American press tells us that the Tea Party is causing a lot of trouble. They tell us that it's a Republican Party that's the one that's in disarray. They tell us that it's all over the map as far as we're concerned. And they tell us it's the Democratic Party that's the one that's united, and that we're the ones that are divided. Well, I'd like to tell the American press that I would rather be in a divided party fighting for liberty than in a united party fighting for the destruction of America. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. Let me tell you a little bit about why I'm running. And then I'm going to tell you why I'm uniquely qualified to beat Mark Warner. And then we open the floor to answer y'all's questions. So I graduated from the United States Air Force Academy in 1988. So that's about 25, 26 years ago, depending on how you count. From there, I went straight to pilot training, where I graduated near the top of my class. And then I was immediately sent to Desert Storm 1. That's what I call it, it's Desert Storm 1. Where I flew over the battlefields of Iraq and the battlefields of Kuwait. Now, I flew the KC-135. That's the big 4-engine guy. You know, the one that lowers the boom and that the other plane comes, they do the air refueling. You're familiar with that. You've probably seen pictures. So there for a while, my professional job was to pass gas for a living. You know, the gentleman up front said I did a great job, too. You know,
I want the guy behind you, that's the question.
I didn't do that. I didn't do the air refueling for the thrill of flying. I did it because I had a job to do. I had a duty. And that duty stems straight from the fact that I raised my right hand, like many of you in this room, and I swore to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies. And that Constitution needs more defenders today than ever before in my life. And as we all know, that oath did not have an expiration date. So I flew all over the world. I flew top secret missions. And then my last assignment, I ended up in Andrews Air Force Base, where I flew the Congressional and VIP support. And that was during the Clinton era. And of course, that's E-R-R-O-R, the Clinton era. And then Robin, who's here with us tonight, Robin asked me if I could find a job where I come home every night. You see, 5 years before that, Robin was diagnosed with a rare form of bone cancer. And she was diagnosed with that cancer when she was pregnant with our second child. And the doctors came to us and said, you need to terminate the pregnancy. Well, Robin and I are pro-life, and we're unapologetic about that. And it's one thing when you're pro-life in theory. It's another thing when it lands on your lap. So I'd like to share with you all that on January 14th, Robin and I celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. And I'd like to tell you that 21 years later, my son, or our son Jake is a medic. And he rides the ambulance. And he volunteers at the fire station up in Northern Virginia. And he brings life to an accident scene. Isn't that pretty interesting how the good Lord works that way? And he's not able to be with us tonight, but many times he does travel around the state with me. And you see, Robin was unable to have more children naturally after that. I mean, goodness gracious. Just to give you a sense of the magnitude of the surgery Robin went through to remove the tumor, she lost 8 pints of blood in the surgery, and the normal human body holds about 5. So obviously she had blood transfusions. By the way, ever since then I give blood every 56 days. Over 10 gallons, by the way. But it's a good thing for males to do, is to give blood. And females, but typically more males, because we don't naturally clean ourselves out, as it were. So you know, we became foster parents. We wanted to have a large family. And we saw and heard the call that, you know, if you want to be a foster parent, come and get licensed and take the classes, and we'll inspect your home. And we did. And in 1997, we started fostering one baby at a time, and we had 2, or a sibling group of 3. And over those 13 next years, 13 or 16, maybe 16 next years, we fostered 46 children. And we adopted 4 of them. So you'll see on the card that's on your seat, if you don't find it, pull it out, take a look at it. You'll see that the kids are standing in height order on the back side of the one. And they're standing in height order, so Jake is there. Of course, he's not the oldest, he's the second oldest. And then Sarah Rose is next, and then David, Michael, Catherine, and Patrick. And I'll show it to you all just so you can find it. But this is what it looks like on one side, and then this is what it looks like on the other. So there's a representation of the 46 children that we fostered, and then the 4 that we adopted. And because we were foster parents, I was appointed to a domestic violence task force here in Virginia, where we help domestic violence survivors. I was appointed by the governor. And because of that, and because of Jake volunteering and our foster work and other things that I do, last year, in 2013, our family was awarded the Outstanding Volunteer Family of the Year Award for the Commonwealth of Virginia. That award was presented by the governor himself, and that was pretty fun that we were up there with all of the other award winners. And so I found a job where I come home every night. I have a master's degree in finance. I have a counter license that, other than Fred has, I have what they call a certified financial planner license. Fred took 3 rigorous classes, which I tip my hat to that because it is pretty tough. Of course, I took 6 college-level classes and a Whopper test, but your program's harder than our program.
I took 3 exams.
Oh, yeah.
It was self-study.
Yeah, your program was much harder than our program. And now I own a small business up in Northern Virginia. It's a financial planning insurance practice. So I can be anywhere across the state with phone, fax, and email, and I can be out here meeting you all as well. But you know, I was looking around and I'm realizing that our Constitution is getting shredded. I'm realizing that our children are in trouble. A baby born today has $56,000 of debt on its head. $56,000. And I tell you, it is amazing to me that we're spending our children's credit card. Well, somebody needs to call the bank and report the card stolen. Because not only do I have a master's degree in finance, as I mentioned, I know what a balance sheet is. And I know how to read a balance sheet. And I know how to balance a balance sheet as well. Because I don't think Mark Warner does. I mean, Mark Warner tells us that he's the most savvy businessman that there's been around. He tells us that he's a moderate. But you know, in truth, he was the 60th vote that gave us the absurd, obscene Obamacare. And just for your viewing pleasure, I have brought to you a full copy of Obamacare right here. This is it. All 2,700 pages of Obamacare right here.
Got it passed, so we
And-
understand what
Which
to do.
Eric
And
said
I need
he
to-
read. He read the first few days it came out. I called his office. He said, "Oh yeah, yeah, Mr. Cannon has read it."
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So the regulations are already up to about where this TV projector is, as far as regulations go. But here's the actual bill, and I'd like to just read to you the beginning of it. It says here that the purpose of the bill, and then I'll read it, is to provide affordable, quality health care for all Americans and reduce the growth in health care spending and for other purposes.
Something specific about that.
The other purposes of the 2000.
And this is what apparently Mr. Warner read
Right.
before he gave it to us, or maybe he didn't read it.
Yeah.
But he's responsible, and we're going to hold him responsible for this. And we're going to hit him on it. Because one of the questions I'm asking him during the debate is this: Mr. Warner, you're supposedly a savvy businessman. I'll give it to you, but I mean, I'm not sure. But have you ever signed a business contract without reading it? I'm just going to ask him that. Let him see what he answers. His answer is. It's one of these polite kind of questions that's going to nail him because he doesn't have an answer. Because he either read this and he's imposing upon us, or he didn't read it, which is what my belief is. And you know, it's funny because he's awful silent. he has nothing to say. Whether it's the IRS or the NSA or indefinite detentions, he has absolutely nothing to say. Well, he actually did say one thing. In his Senate office, he told us that he would not vote for Obamacare. He would not vote for something that would take away our ability to choose our doctor or our ability to have a health care plan. And he videotaped that. Robin found it in some opposition research, and we found that videotape, and I downloaded it on a thumb drive, and I have that video, because I didn't want him to pull it, you know what I'm saying? So I have that thumb drive now in a nondescript location in an underground bunker, ready to use it when the time comes. When the time comes. But other than that, he's got nothing to say. Well, I've got something I'd like to say to Mr. Warner. Mr. Warner, you have the right to remain silent. But you do not have the right to be our United States Senator. And to paraphrase another, if you want to keep your senator, you can keep him. But if you want to get rid of him, you can get rid of him. Period. And I want to be one of those that gets rid of him. Because if I was in the United States Senate, I would not have cast the 60th vote for this, nor for the Dodd-Franks, nor for the other intrusions that's occurring right now in our government. But something we have to do, as we were talking earlier about the convention, as we were talking about what we need to do as grassroots, we actually have to show up and cast a ballot, and that ballot needs to be cast in Roanoke. And it needs to be cast on June 7th. And I'm asking for you to cast that for me. But we also have to be honest with ourselves, and I want to arm you a little bit so when you're out talking to your friends and family, you've got some ammunition. But I believe that Mark Warner is going to pull a page out of Obama's playbook. So let's just recap real quickly. In 2012, it's widely reported that President Obama had two choices on his re-election bid. Run on your record, Mr. Obama, and you will absolutely lose. Or trash the other guy. Which one did Obama choose? Trash the other guy. I mean, why is it that we know that Mitt Romney was a bully in 7th grade? I mean, why do we know all of this? Because Obama could not run on Obama's record. He had to trash the other guy. Well, if I was Mark Warner, I think he's going to have the same decision point. Run on your record and you'll absolutely lose. Or trash the other guy. And what do you think he's going to do? What do you think he's going to do? Okay, that's what I think he's going to do. So here's what we have to do. We have to be honest. Because Mark Warner's bringing his record to the table. Ed Gillespie is going to bring Ed's record to the table, and I'm going to bring mine. And you all need to know what that record says. So let's pull out our computer, let's pull out our laptop, and let's do a Google search on who Shak is. And let's see who's going to be able to make Mark Warner run on his record. Now let me tell you what I mean. I believe, now I want you guys to tell me if you believe this or not, but I believe that if we make Mark Warner run on Mark Warner's record, we win. You guys get that? I mean, did you agree with that? Yes. Okay. If we make Mark Warner run on Mark Warner's record, we win. If Mark Warner runs on a distraction, we're going to lose. Think Obama. So if you pull it up, you do a Google search on Shak Hill, here's what you're going to find. I'm a decorated combat pilot. I've served in the forces which guard our country and our way of life. I'm a life member of the VFW, the Veterans of Foreign War. If I was on Mark Warner's re-election team, I probably wouldn't trash me for that. Would you guys agree with that? That's probably a net loser if he tries to trash me for that. I own my own business. I have a master's degree in finance. I'm a certified financial planner. I have several licenses with the Securities and Exchange Commission, and I've got a unique license conferred to me here from the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that's my health insurance license. And that gives me an interesting inside view to this thing. And if I was on Mark Warner's re-election team, I don't think I'd trash me for that. I fostered 46 children. I've adopted 4 of them. I've written 2 financial planning books. One of them is entitled A Woman's Guide to Financial Planning. I wrote that for my mom because she was in a perilous situation, a divorce, and wrote it for her, and I wrote it for all ladies to help them get out of a bad situation, become economically empowered. I'm on a domestic violence. Oh, by the way, the book is out of print. So just kills the author when they're out of print. I'm on a domestic violence task force, and I've served on many different boards in town. And if I was Mark Warner, I don't think I'd trash you for that. But I do need to let you know, in full disclosure, there is something he's going to trash me on. And you need to know it. My wife and I have already discussed this in private, but I have to let you know, Jim, I did not mention this to you, but I'm going to mention it to the group all at once. Because when you guys go to the cast the ballot to the convention, you just need to be a high informed voter. And I need to let you know what he's going to trash me. I'm a constitutional carry guy. I believe in the Second Amendment, and I'm packing. And Mark Warner's going to trash me for it. And he is. Now, he's also going to trash me on life, because I'm a pro-life. I believe in pro-life. I believe in life begins at conception. But I'm very concerned about the end of life. Because you guys see this black clip right here? It's hard to see around the podium. I'll pull the podium back without moving the thing over there. Can you see my son? This black clip right here. That's the death panel section. That does exist. And it's right there. And I'm concerned